Hey on the channel, it's the big one. Today, the top 10 action figures of 2024.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for an extra special video here today, as of course it is a year-end best of list, and we've been doing them for the last couple of months here on the channel, what it seems like, but it's all come to this moment here today as we take the winners from all the respective categories and we put together, and when I say we, I mean me, a top 10 action figures of 2024 list. Now this could be G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends, He-Man, miscellaneous, retro wrestling, all the different top 10s and top 5 year-end best of lists. All the winners are eligible, and now we're doing a final top 10 action figures of 2024. What can you say about 2024? It's 2025 now, let's forget it. But 2024, a very interesting year in the action figures. Well, after COVID craziness, really kind of settling into a new world in 2024. We're seeing some changes with the Marvel Legends team not soliciting a HasLab. Are we going to see that model kind of go away? We've seen some toy lines come. We've seen some toy lines go. We've seen some interesting looks into the 2025 and beyond future. Going to be a very interesting 2025, but before we dive fully into 2025, we got to put 2024 to rest with this very top 10 list. And of course, like we always say in these top 5, top 10 lists here on this very YouTube channel, we're going to start our countdown at number 10, work our way to number 1. Number 1 being my number 1 action figure of 2024. But that's where you come in. I'm going to ask you, what is your top 10 list? I guess you don't have to be as fancy as me. If you don't collect a lot of these other lines, you only collect He-Man, for example, I guess you could put your top 10 He-Man list down here. But if you're like me, culling from all the other category winners to find a true number 1, let me know in the comments down below. And it's been a fun year in YouTube as well as we reminisce on 2024. I mean, we unboxed well over 1,000 action figures on the channel this year. Like a young James Brown, we never quit, we never surrender. In 2025, going to bring a lot of new surprises to this channel and my other channel, Kyle Peterson 2.0. Make sure you subscribe to both of those. March will be the 5-year anniversary of the channel, if you can believe that. That is when we started about 5 years ago in March. So we got to do some kind of celebration around that. Have some giveaways along the way as well to thank everybody, each and every one of you guys and gals, for subscribing to the channel. And it would be great to hit 50,000 subscribers by March. We got, I don't know, 3,000 subscribers to go, something like that. So make sure you subscribe if you have not. But hopefully in March we will do that. And I guess if we can hit 50,000 by the subscriber milestone, if we can hit that 50,000 in March by the time of the anniversary video, maybe we'll do a super prize. A super prize! We'll see what happens there. But a lot of fun stuff to come to the channel this year. A lot of stuff fun to come with me. So make sure you follow me on the social medias. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. You won't want to miss some of these giveaways, some of these announcements, and a lot of these surprises that I got in store for 2025. So without further ado, enough jibber jabber. Let's get into it. Let's celebrate the best of 2024, and let's start it at number 10. All right, let's kick off the top 10, and the number 10 selection could be the most surprising figure in this top 10 list. Is no way I had this on my bucket list as 2024 began, but this little guy stole my heart and some of yours as well. He was the number 1 miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2024 for me. We're going to Boss Fight Studios. We're going to their MLW line. We're going to little Microman, and I love my big gigantic wrestlers. I love my hairy bipedal creatures, but I also love the little guys as well, and this Microman, very, very cool. I would love to see more mini wrestling action figures in the future. I think this is just a great idea, very cool idea. Obviously, you know, some qualms about the price point being the same price as everybody else, but obviously you got special tooling for this one and things like that, so it does make sense when you do the math a little bit. But man, oh man, a figure that put a smile on my face, a figure I really do enjoy, and that's why Microman comes in at number 10. We've hit the number 9 spot in the countdown, and the number 9 selection comes to us from our Best of NECA video this year. Now, NECA was an up and down year, and we talked about it in that video, but I would say this was the sleeper NECA figure of the year, and it carried itself all the way to number 1. And in 2025, my New Year's resolution is to buy 2 more examples, 2 more copies of this figure, so I can display all the different looks. It is the man, the myth, the legend. It is Vincent Price, 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo himself. We got Vincent Price right here in the countdown, coming in at number 9. Love this figure way more than I thought I would. I love that you can do the 3 different stages of his career. He had a long career, as we do know, and you can celebrate all of those, and it'd be really cool to have all 3 on a shelf together. Makes me even more excited for 2025 when we get the Peter Cushing figure. So I'm hoping Peter Cushing comes in with some of this love as well. Can't wait for that Van Helsing, so we'll see if he makes the top 10 list in 2025. But man, this Vincent Price, way funner than I ever imagined it to be. So fun, in fact, he comes in at number 9. Feeling great at number 8, depending who you ask with this selection here, as by far this year this was the most frustrating action figure and hardest to find action figure at traditional retail. Already it is a Walmart exclusive, so that makes it already difficult from the get-go. But man, oh man, if I wasn't in a Walmart in Chula Vista, California, of all places, during San Diego Comic-Con, I would have never seen this in my entire life. What are we talking about? We're talking about Turtles of Grayskull. Merman, a beautiful figure, very disappointing how hard it is to find. A lot of people stressing out about this one, and I think I said in the countdown video for this, I said, you know what, I have a feeling that this will hit like the Ollies of the world or just flood Walmarts in the future. Wouldn't be shocked to see that in 2025, but it is weird when this has started to hit, and it would be maybe a full year later finally be able to get your hands on it. But however you get your hands on it, whenever you do, a fabulous figure, a 2-in-1 figure, translucent plastic, a lot going for this one. Turtles of Grayskull line has its ups and downs, but this is its zenith, if you ask me. Just a beautiful, beautiful figure. Absolutely love this one. So much, in fact, it comes in at number 8 in the year of Best of Countdown. All right, we've hit the number 7 spot in our top 10 year-end countdown list, and the number 7 selection comes to us from the WWE Mattel lines. Which one, though? Well, it is the Ultimate line, and this figure here went for pre-order, I think it was midsummer, maybe even San Diego Comic-Con, but towards the end of 2024, this ringside collectible exclusive finally did ship, to the excitement of many, including myself. What are we talking about, number 7? Well, we're getting the ringside collectible exclusive Ultimate Edition CM Punk at number 7. Now, we did have an Elite very similar to this back in the day, but of course, CM Punk recently returning to the WWE family, I guess we'll call it, has created a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement, and a lot of hope for more CM Punk classic look figures. And this is the first one we're getting in the Ultimate line, his first ever Ultimate figure. Now, I know some people say it doesn't hold a candle to the Supreme of prior years. I could probably co-sign that as well, but still a good one. Maybe not as ultimate as some Ultimates have felt in the past. I mean, we do get a lot of head sculpts, we do get the belt, we get the shirts. There's enough meat on the bone here, I think, with comparable Ultimates of the same time frame. But beautiful packaging on this can't be dismissed. A beautiful package in the blue color there, something totally different for the Ultimates as well. All in all, a perfect CM Punk for what this is trying to represent. Of course, the Money in the Bank where he stole the title away, something like that. But CM Punk here in the Ultimate Edition comes in at number 7. Next up, we're at the number 6 spot in the countdown, and this toy company had a very transitional year from where I sit. And the last 2 years been a little bit transitional. And of course, in 2024, we saw this company really move away from Build-A-Figure model. They still had a few, but nothing like years in the past. A lot of fan channel releases, a lot of exclusive releases, Target exclusive, Walmart exclusives, and so on. And then, of course, a few regular lines along the way, but some really, really cool stuff came this year from, of course, Hasbro Marvel Legends. And the number 6 selection won my number 1 spot in Marvel Legends in 2024, and that is old Frank Castle himself, the Punisher. And I love the Punisher, have loved the Punisher since I was a kid. He feels like a character from Hasbro that we should get more often than we actually do. There's a lot of different looks, and we've got a few of them in the past, but I'm sure it's time to about redoing a lot of those figures from the past. Wouldn't be shocked to see one on a Spider-Man retro card in the future, things like that. But this came from the Bushwhacker 2-pack, and this one is an all-timer as far as Punisher is concerned. I love the all-black attack here. I know some people have said they want the white on the forearms and the gloves. Wouldn't be shocked to see a repaint in the future. But man, I love the stealth look of this one, the hardened look of this one, the movability, posability of this one, and then the beautiful head sculpts here. There's just so much to like about this Punisher. So much, in fact, he was my #1 Marvel Legend figure and my #6 favorite figure of 2024. We've hit the halfway point of this very countdown. You got your list together, put it in the comments down below. And remember, every single Thursday on this channel, it's not just for best of year-end list. We do top 5, top 10 countdowns every single Thursday. So make sure you subscribe to this very YouTube channel as the quest for 50,000 rolls on. So there you go. But here we are at #5 in the #5 selection. One of my all-time favorite looking wrestlers, I guess we'll say. This guy always looks crazy, looks wild, plays a lot of hits for me. I have met this guy in the past, good friend of the channel, you could even say. A lot to like about this one, and a lot to like about his action figure here in 2024. He was the #1 Jazzwares AEW figure for me. It is the Jazzwares from the Vault exclusive Supreme 1 Malakai Black, a game changer of a figure, and they started the Vault off extremely hot with this one. This one, of course, sold out, and probably the most in demand, maybe outside of the Briscoes, depending where you sit. I, of course, sit at this table. But Malakai Black, an amazing, amazing one. A lot of people missed out on his first Supreme. Pretty low run on that one, so they did try to make good over there at the Vault. This one sold out as well, so wouldn't be shocked to see a future Supreme in the future. Again, another run for him because he seems to sell pretty well, and it's a business after all. But Malakai Black, Supreme, Jazzwares Vault, coming in at #5. Countdown rolls on as we get closer and closer to that coveted top spot, but here we are at #4, and #4 selection is a guy that changed my life. That guy, he'd be very impressed with my Western wear here today. One of the all-time great musicians, one of the greatest philosophers of our time, comes in at #4. It is the Super 7 Ultimate, Lemmy Kilmister, of course, the leader, the driving force behind Motorhead, one of the guys that changed my life. I've said it before, my life has really never been the same since Motorhead, I guess, Lemmy died, basically. But every year, like clockwork, I would set my vacation calendar around Motorhead concerts. I'd travel to see Motorhead throughout the Midwest. It was always something I did for so many years, and to have that just sucked away from you, just feels weird. It feels like there's a hole in my heart still to this day, but it is being filled with things like this. Now, if you guys remember to last year's countdown, this was the #1 figure for me, and that's one of the reasons it didn't quite hit #1 this year. Still a fabulous figure, still an amazing figure here, but it didn't feel as fresh and new as it did last year. Now, I do appreciate the shirt on this one, a few different accessories, but it is, at the end of the day, pretty much a re-release with some new accessories. That's what it is, but you gotta get the most out of your molds. We know how that goes. I am very hopeful of the future. I would love to see this year get another Lemmy, give us the Cowboy Lemmy, or even Sailor Lemmy from the Motorhead Cruise. I would love to see that, but I would love to see something, I get the most out of their molds, but something a little bit newer. I would love to see that in 2025. Hopefully that happens. If not, we got the memories of this one, and this Lemmy comes in hot at #4. Down to the final three. The final three in our countdown of the best action figures of 2024. Oh my gosh, we're really separating the men from the boys is what we're doing here today. But our #3 selection is one that has no business being on this countdown. No business being as good as it is. No business being a figure I even wanted ever in my collection. But then when I saw it, man, it was game over. It changed the game. A fabulous, fabulous figure of a character I'm not even the hugest fan of, but it's hard to say that when you've released about 40 of his figures over the last year and a half or so. What are we talking about for the #3 selection? We're going to Mattel. We're going to the Elite line. We're going to one real American Hulk Hogan, slamming away on that guitar. A figure I never knew I wanted till it came was the #1 Elite figure for me this year. Now, there was some crazy figures in Elite, one of the toughest top 10s to do because there's so many figures. But the Hulkster, it was 40th year of Hulkamania. Like I said, I'm not a Hulkamaniac. I'm a Warrior Maniac. But I understand Hulk Hogan. I understand the power of Hulk Hogan. And there was something fun about celebrating him throughout 2024. So it's only fitting maybe he was #1. But this figure, him and the Real American, such a cool, deep cut. And sometimes you get the same old for so long. You need stuff like this to freshen things up. So you give him a beautiful guitar, that glistening hot dog tan, beautiful soft goods, cool cowboy boots, the glasses. This is just a very, very fun figure, and I still think this should have been the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for 2024. Would have been amazing. Maybe make it an ultimate. A lot of ways you could have went with that one, but man, oh man, such a fun figure. Definitely worth the pickup. Hulkamania coming in at number 3. Down to the wire, down to the top 2. Our number 2 selection is something I wanted ever since I was a little boy. When I was a little kid playing with my action figures, I said to myself, man, if I just could have these. If I could just have these. Well, it took a heck of a lot of years to get there, but we finally get there, and my dreams finally come true all these years later. The number 2 selection comes to us from the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Major Bendy, Big Rubber Guys line. Of course, it is the Hawk, it is the Animal, it is the Road Warriors. Man, oh man, my dreams came true this year. Now, very, very cool, the Road Warriors. What can you say about them that hasn't been said already? Possibly the greatest tag team of all time. Changed the business, changed little Kyle with their shoulder pads, face paint, jacked up physiques. A lot to like about them, and you had to imagine yourself as a little kid playing with the LJNs, watching WCW, NWA, WWF, and everything in between that you could get your hands on. How larger than life the Road Warriors were, and how bad you wanted to play with them as a kid. I'm so thankful LJN Grand Toys came with the Ultimate Warrior, because that just changed my life and my playing life as a little kid. But I can only imagine what would have happened if I would have had these Road Warriors. So the nostalgic aspect of this one is through the roof. It is something I have wanted since I was 5 years old. Finally coming to fruition here, so that makes it special. But on top of that, just fabulous, fabulous figures with the removable shoulder pads on here, the classic just kick you in the teeth look. I love the Legion of Doom as well, but they got a little bit more colorful, a little bit more cartoony. I wouldn't go full cartoon. You never go full cartoon, but this is what I think of when I close my eyes and I think of the Road Warriors, and we finally got them in action figure form. And now 2025, we're getting the Legion of Doom, so it's going to be a very interesting year for the Major Bendy's Big Rubber Guys. But man, oh man, this one playing all the hits, going to be tough to beat this one. Coming in number 2 is the Road Warriors, which means there can only be one. Like a young Highlander, what is my number 1 action figure of 2024? Well, stay tuned. Here we go. We're at the number 1 action figure of 2024 as voted by me. Once again, would love to see your list. Put in the comments down below. Put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. But man, oh man, 2024, a great year for figures. Can't wait to see where 2025 goes. Have a feeling it'll feel a little different, look a little differently than 2024. But that's a good thing. Constant learning, constant improvement is at least what we hope. But here we are at the number 1 selection. And the number 1 selection, much like number 2, goes way back to my childhood. And really where I was a kid just playing with toys, where I morphed into more of a collector, was around this toy line. And this toy line has carried with me my entire life, and this is one of the pivotal characters you always have to have. Now, we did get this figure back in 2023. Not perfect, not exactly what we wanted, and I remember in that review saying we will get a version, a more iconic version in the future. Mark my words. Well, the future came a lot sooner than I thought it would. It came in 2024. We finally got this version of one Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe Retro line. Cobra Commander, one of the top cartoon villains of the 80s, and you can throw the 90s in there as well, would have to be on everyone's Mount Rushmore. There's no way he couldn't be an iconic character, and we finally got a classic one with a mirrored finish. Not too much different than the Mickey Mouse one. That was an amazing figure as well, but this is more akin to what we think of. Now, of course, the hooded one, the white whale for many collectors. I know a lot of people say I want the one with the hood. I totally understand that. I do as well. Hopefully in 2025 we get that. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I would love to see that as our next Cobra Commander, but I don't think it's in the cards, at least as of right now. But this one right here, just an all-timer. You close your eyes, you think of Cobra Commander. You might think hooded, but for me, this is what I think of. This was my first Cobra Commander figure as a child, and it's beautiful to see this in the classified retro line from Hasbro here in 2025. So no doubt about it, an all-timer, a nostalgic figure, a fun figure, a must-have figure. Coming in at number 1 is the G.I. Joe Retro Cobra Commander. And that is it. That is my top 10 best action figures of 2024. Once again, would love to see your list. Put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel and my other YouTube channel. Content every single day and tons of bonus content, tons of exclusive content over on the Patreon. And the Patreon, the best way you can support a channel like this. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, of course now on TikTok. And don't forget my book. I also came out with a book in 2024, and you might see another one in 2025. Stay tuned. It is, of course, the complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series. 700 pages of content. Check it out at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and, of course, on Kindle digitally. So there it is, the top 10 action figures of 2024. I'm Kyle, and I'll see you guys in 2025.